What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilgrim. I'm coming back today with more Danmachi. Now, guys, we just got a brand new memoria, and we never really talked about memoria on the channel, just because I wasn't really sure, like, how it would fit into the long game. But this new memoria we have, I mean, really could fit the bill in a huge, huge way. So let's go to our memoria list here. Let's check out this new one. So, it should be down here. There it is. So, Love Triangle, all party strength plus 1% for turns 8 through 15. Now, here's where I love what this memoria does. So, I'm going to go ahead and max it out. So, now, once it's fully maxed, it's now all party strength 6% from turns to 8 to 15. Now, that's pretty good stuff, right? Like, we already know that when we go into longer matches, you were talking like your EX missions and things like that, this is going to be really substantial. This is going to be really good for especially those longer in EX types, or say longer, some of those missions where you're going to be in there like, you know, Royale events and Familia Rush, things like that. Things where, like, you know, the turn 8 to 9 to maybe even up to 15 range is really like your big shot. This is where it's going to make the difference. Now, the one thing I've never really had answered, and I've asked, and I don't think, maybe I missed the comment on it, maybe somebody knows more than I do about this, but how does this factor into essays? This is what we're going to figure out today. We're going to do this live. I don't say live, well, recorded. But we're going to do this by ourselves. We're going to figure this one out. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize the latest 7th Zone, basically, in order to make this happen. So if you guys don't know, 7th Zone used to be one of those that was, like, really super difficult. You don't dare bring anybody in here that, like, isn't, you know, top dog for that particular element or anything like that. But I think in this day and age, that's kind of going out the window. And most of that is because of percentage boosts. Now, I don't know necessarily if this team's going to be able to do quite what the water team does in... Like, if you guys don't know, basically I've got a water team here. If I go over to Team 7, this team is just basically my 7th Zone team. I can auto-run this team. It'll just crush anything. And the main reason for that is because both Aisha and Mikoto have this really awesome skill here on their SA. Self-water physical damage, 80% per each self-water attack damage buff. So that means the buff on the adventure side and on the assist side is basically going to give her a total of 160% damage. And on her own element, she hits like a truck. On everyone else's element, she just kind of hits like a truck. So it's pretty bonkers. Like, these units are nuts. Mikoto's even 100%. Though, to be fair, Mikoto is single target. And that really got me thinking, okay? So let's go back to the team I built here. And I'll kind of explain my theory going in this, okay? So the main reason that team works is because we have Haruhime, who does Strength and Magic 120%. We have somebody on the team that does, with their SA, Elemental Damage 100%. Turns out we have that for Fire with Wealth. Now, the thing is, you really need one that's Elemental Damage 100% for multiple turns, whereas like the old Aisha for Fire was like for one turn, so you really have to use her carefully. Wealth is for 3 turns. So that means we can do a quad essay with Haruhime, next turn buff the debuffs, and we'll be in good shape. So we're just going to keep an eye on that. Okay? Also, as far as damage goes, just raw damage goes, we have eyes here. Now, Ultra Fire physical attack, 60% per each self-strength buff skill. Hopefully you kind of see where I'm going with this, because that strength buff is where she's going to get the majority of her damage. So she's going to have 120% strength from the adventurer side. That's Haruhime. She's going to have the strength buff. Well, she's going to have a strength buff. She's only going to have a 10% strength buff on the assist side. It's not the greatest strength buff ever. I know there are better strength buffs out there. We got a good strength stat on her, and we're going to have a lot of physical resistance on our foe. That's really where we're going to shine in this one. We could do a strength buff on the assist side, but for the other stuff I'm doing to get off faster SAs, I'm going to kind of, I guess, negate that for just a slightly better result. It's a little faster run, so to speak. But because her strength buff is going to be on the assist side and on the adventure side, that has become a 120%. But that brings me back to Memoria here. So, let's go ahead and check our Memoria list. And the rest of these, not such a big deal, but I'm going to take off Counter Raid. And I'm going to go ahead and give her or give everybody S, this new memoria. Now here's the deal, guys. Follow me. All parties strength 6% for turns 8 to 15. And if you remember, we're going to build up a triple SA. We're really talking turn 9 or so before we get our SA off. So I wonder, and I've never really had this answered, but I wonder if that memoria will tack on another. Go back in here. It takes a minute to get there. 60%. So instead of doing 120%, she'll do 180. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one with the memoria, one without, compare the numbers, and see what happens. So I've given everybody stun anklets. Remember, you need stun anklets whenever you go into 7th zone. Unless they, I haven't honestly checked. They could have mixed it up on me, but I don't think they have. Now, Naza and the Water Welf are just here to do one thing. So she's going to go ahead and do physical resist down 40%. He's going to do single target down 25%. And after this turn, they're both going to leave and bring in the other Bell and the other Haruhime. I just happened to realize here, I have to... Oops, go out here. I had to fix something here. Bell and Haruhime are in the wrong order. That would be my old order when you would bring in units one at a time, but I wouldn't bring them both in on turn 2. So I just have to swap them around real quick. It's not going to be a big deal. All right, let's try this one more time. Okay, so turn 1 is going to be all about the debuffs, in that she's going to do a physical debuff 40%, he's going to do a single target debuff 25%. We need to keep those in play, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Welf, on the other hand, is just going to go ahead and do his basic buff, and she's going to do her basic buff. Now, she does like physical and fire resistance debuff here, but I want better fire resistance debuff, so I'm just basically going to go into skill 2 with her. Pretty straightforward stuff. Like, it's really not that hard to understand how this buff stack works. Now, Haruhime doesn't really, or say Eyes doesn't really get a huge buff herself. She'll rely on other people's buffs, so her numbers aren't really going to be what we're looking at. Like, we're not really going to pay much attention to what she's doing until we do the quad SA, and then we'll look at those big numbers. So Haruhime is going to come in. She's going to do skill 1. All her debuffs should be good. Ooh, strength magic down 45% for 1 turn. You know what? That's a counter skill. I'm not terribly worried about it. I don't remember who does that. I think it was one of our the sideline units, one of our sacks that did that. So I'm going to go ahead and do Dawnwind here. I'm going to go ahead and basically go up here to see. We still has fire resist 40%, so we're going to do that this turn. Bell is going to go ahead and do his skill 1. And she's going to go ahead and do the physical and magic resist 30% one more time, just to give everybody that big defensive buff. Since Bell is like, basically, since he is down a little bit on his defenses, just because he's only +2 instead of +5 like everybody else, he's going to need that defensive buff. So Haruhime is going to come back here. She's going to go ahead and do the status debuff one more time. Now, we don't have the strength of magic debuff on them, but we really don't think we're going to need it. They didn't really hit hard enough for it to be a concern, and we've got the defensive buffs anyway. So from this point on, we're going to go ahead and make sure our debuffs stay in play. We're going to go ahead and just do everybody's big single target skill, and I do have it set to use skill flow, even though there's not a skill flow set. So we're just going to kind of, yeah, pretend like that ain't a thing. All right, and we're pretty much just going to go from here. So for the next few turns, we're just going to build up our SA gauge. That's all we're going to do. Now, we will need to keep everybody's extra actions in check. If anybody has any, we're going to have to basically pay close attention to Bell, make sure Bell stays alive, because he's kind of, I won't say integral to this, but a little bit so, yes. Okay, so debuffs are good. We'll do her skill 1 this turn. Just going to keep everything in play. Dawnwind has got two turns left. 3, 4. I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good doing... You know, we'll just keep doing that. I don't think the damage output isn't going to change that much from turn to turn. So we're going to do this one more turn. Everybody else is just going to kind of do their big single target. Bell, let's see, is all AoE. So basically... Yeah, we'll just basically spam that. I don't think it's going to change too much what he's doing. He's really only here for the SA. He's like SA support, I guess you could say. So, yeah. Thank you, Haru. We're getting hit pretty hard. I was not expecting us, with the defensive buff, I wasn't expecting us to get hit this hard. So, yeah, it is what it is. We'll have to go and rebuff Dawnwind. Everybody should be good on all their buffs. The main thing I'm looking at is their SA gauge charge. We need that SA gauge charge. We need an SA. We need the quad SA as quickly as we can muster it. I don't think he does extra actions. He does 2 extra actions, but I don't necessarily need that, so we're going to keep doing big single targets. We'll go ahead and get rid of the status debuffs and big single target, and let's go. Now, we're not really... Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm more or less trying to devise my skill flow for the second run-through. I'm not terribly worried about damage output at this stage of the game, mostly because nobody's really getting damage at this stage of the game, or nobody's producing damage yet until all the buffs are in, so we're just going to kind of keep going on this. So Dawnwind is good for 3 more turns. The status debuffs are good for a few more turns, so we're going to do that. Big single, get rid of debuffs, big single, let's go. Alright. Remember, Bell is kind of a bad fit here because he is all AoE, but you'll see what he's doing here when we get to the SA stage. Oh, that was a big hit! I do not want to lose Bell. I do not want to lose Bell. That would put a big damper on this run. Not making it possible, but would definitely hurt the run. Alright, he may... Thank you, girl. Thank you. I knew Bell was going to be a bit of an issue, but I didn't think he was going to be that big of an issue. That's that's a little scary, guys. A little scary. That's okay. All right, so let's see. We need to rebuff Dawnwind. Okay, big single target. Get rid of debuffs. Big single target. Let's go. So our memoria should be activated here. So we'll double check before we do the quad SA. We should get quad SA next turn. So we'll double check it there. Nope. Turn 10. I'm a little bit off. Turn 10. All right, so just to double check here. So we get on here. It says strength up 6% for memoria. Remember, her SA is dependent on that strength buff. So as long as Bell will stay in play here. Okay. We'll just do that this turn. I don't think... Yeah, he'll do some MP healing there. So, big single attack, big single attack. Put the debuffs back into play. In fact, yeah. Alright. So, debuffs back in play. Big single attack, just an attack, big single attack. I need some healing on Bell. Oh! Alright. That is going to slightly mess up our numbers, but we can still do this test. We can still do the test. I can just kind of work around it for the coming test. So we'll do ahead, do 120% strength and magic, 100% fire attack damage. Now remember, she does 60% per self strength, buff skill, and increase SA gauge charge by 100%. So as much as Bell was going to do a big physical resist and fire resist debuff, he'd have been really nice to have, but unfortunately, he fell too early. The foe was a bit much for him, so that's just because I took a +2 in here. But we'll go ahead and do a triple. We'll see what we get with a triple. Now, once again, bear in mind, she's got a strength. She'll have 120% here. She'll have 6% here, and she's got 10% here. So, here's the deal with this. That that basically equals up to, because it's not per percentage of each buff, that's per buff skill. So that becomes a 180% in theory, but I don't know if memoria counts. So let's go ahead and do big combo attack here. Okay? And we'll really just look at her numbers. Okay? So I have to go back and look at that number. That looked bigger than I expected, but I think it's just the numbers were a bit larger. Unless that was... There's no way. There's no way. I have to go back and reassess the footage. But she does have Insight Killer, so it could have been that. But let's see, how much health does he have left? 20 million, or yeah, 2 million. So let's go ahead and do one more essay with her. Everybody else just kind of pulling the old single target skill here. Okay. That was I think that number was a little bigger than I anticipated it being. But we'll just run a second one here and see what happens. I don't want to quote that basically until I get a chance to review the footage, because that's unexpectedly strong if that's the case. Actually, we can figure it out real quick. We can actually figure it out really, really, really fast here. Easy way to figure this out. So let's go ahead and skip. We did get an A clear only because Belle died. So if I go into save, we save the previous skill flow. That will keep Belle out of the SA range. And I'm going to take off the memoria. Okay? So we'll just deactivate this memoria. And it's up here at the top. There it is. So remove that. And let's go to battle. Let's just do this one more time. And we can auto-run this basically up to that point. Now, what we'll do, basically up to that point, is just assess how much damage she's got. And then we can kind of see what the number is. Because I think that number was significantly larger than I want to admit it was. If that number was what I thought it was, it's out of the world. But it's tough to call, man. But let's see. Let's play it bare. Let's see, because it was also critical, and there was a number of factors behind that. So, actually, I don't think it was critical, but it did have Insight Killer on it. So, it was a big hit either way. It was a big hit. All right, so Belle's already down, which means it's going to take longer to build up her SA. So I am going to have to do some manual running. It was a nice dream. It was fun while it lasted, Belle. I think that's that turn where I was kind of questioning his involvement to begin with. So maybe it was a bit ambitious to try to get him to survive. All right. That, or perhaps the other option is I just have to give him better equips, and then just suffer the stuns and hope that he just doesn't stay stunned. All right. Actually, no, I don't even have to change anything because we'll still do we'll still get a triple. So we'll turn off auto battle here. Okay. So we'll do it this way. Hilariously, it doesn't look like Belle made a huge impact in our SA strategy. Ooh, we are getting hit hard though. All right. So we're gonna do a triple SA now. Once again, I want to point out. Okay, she's gonna have 120% strength here. We do not have the memoria in play, but we do have the same assist side. So let's see what happens and assess our numbers. Oh, I forgot to check the damage on the foe. Well, actually, no, because we had 2 million on the back side of this. Number is lower, but not so much lower that I'm blown away. But that could easily accommodate for the percentage. And notice he's got 3 mil left now instead of 2 mil. So, yeah. It looks like the memoria attacks on. Let's do one more test. Let's do one more test, sans memoria, and see where we lie. Because it's hard to tell. I mean, that could be within range of just RNG, but it seems like a lot. Like an extra 2 mil for RNG seems like a lot. All right. So single target. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to do this one more time. I guess I really could have hit play again. I'm going to do the Sans Memoria, and we're going to just do one more run through and see where we lie with this. Because this is... If Memoria does tack on there, that's a massive, massive difference. And also remember, for as much as we hit for, that is low in comparison to what because we would have had. To be fair, we have 40% fire resistance, 40% physical resistance. I was going to up that to 50%. So in hindsight, it's really not the end of the world. It's only an extra 10%. But that could have meant a much bigger hit. And I'm going to look at the numbers because I don't believe my eyes at this point. That's a massive, massive hit. And Bell's down. Because, of course, Bell is. Because Haruhime didn't counter. All right. Yep, it be what it be. We'll still bid it up to the triple. We're going to triple at the usual time. So it's not going to be the end of the world. Technically, I guess we could do our triple a little bit early. I suppose. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. But just to get the numbers all exactly the same, I'm going to continue doing what I was doing. And we'll get the triple on turn 10. Because I realize we got the triple now. But I want the numbers on our foe to be the same. I want everything to be right in line with what we've seen before. I don't want any surprise factors in this. Aside from, obviously, Bell's death, which... In reality, wasn't a surprise, but it definitely wasn't what I had in mind. All right. Okay, so turn 10. What would otherwise be a quad essay. So our foe has... 5.2 mil. 5.2 mil. So she is hitting for just under 2 million. Now, to be fair, once again, I want to point out, which I guess isn't shocking because she is single target. So I knew my eyes were deceiving. I knew that number wasn't as big as I thought it was. It's just a little underwhelming now to be in the range of seeing that and thinking it was. Anyway, neither here nor there. So they do have strength and magic up. They do have fire resistance up 20%. So fire resistance, for the record, is only down 50%. So, it is is only up 50%. So bear in mind, there's a lot more damage. A lot more damage that's capable with this team. So that number could be what I wanted it to be. So she's doing 2 mil-ish with fire resistance up 50%. Granted, physical resistance down 65, but nevertheless, those numbers could be significantly better. And I do mean significantly. So one more time, guys. One more time. Triple SA. No Memoria. Let's go. Okay? Alright. Well, Fizz... Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. So the Memoria, that confirms it. Memoria does factor. We got 1.9 mil without Memoria and 1.6 to 1.7 mil with, 1.9 mil with Memoria, 1.6, 1.7 mil without Memoria. So if you really factor everything together, it looks like Memoria does add another 60% damage. So, and I know that's not 60%. That's not like an overall third of the damage. But bear in mind the fire resistance and all that. It's been pretty consistent. So yeah, this new strength Memoria really, really helps physical. So the next time Record Buster comes around and it's physical related, you got to use this Memoria. So if you guys have been sitting on your Memoria upgrade assets and you've been wondering what to do with them, now you know. You need to upgrade your Memoria. And this is why Memoria makes all, and I mean all, the difference in the world. I'm frankly impressed. I in my heart of hearts, I kind of knew mathematically it should count, but I didn't honestly think it would. It just feels feels a little unexpected, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. But yeah, memoria counts in that equation. So, one more time to kind of cover what we're doing here. Because Eyes is Insect Killer, and she gets an extra 50% damage, and because Eyes does have that extra whatever percentage it is, let's see, it is 60%, I believe. Yeah, 60% per each self-strength buff skill. She's getting basically 3 of those. She's getting 180% damage on whatever she's doing here. So that 1.1 mil right there could have been a heck, and I do mean a heck of a lot stronger, if it weren't, if we did have the memoria in play. So there you go, guys. We have a definitive answer on this. Let me know what you guys thought below. Like, comment, share, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.